Hi, I'm Rachel Davies. I am a registered nutritional therapist and a health coach. And today I want to talk to you about energy, something that lots of us do struggle with through the colder winter months. So, first of all, let's make sure that we're covering the basics. These are things that I'm going to talk to you about time and time again, but they really are the fundamentals. So, first of all, are you filling your diet with whole foods that are really nutrient dense? Foods in their most natural form. The reason being that the body really needs a lot of the micronutrients in those whole foods, the vitamins and minerals, in order for it to perform its processes, its functions as effectively as possible. When it comes to energy production, there are key vitamins and minerals which we've got to get in through the diet in order to allow that process to work effectively. So it's not just a case of calories in, calories out. We've got to be focusing on the nutrient density. So when it comes to energy, we're thinking particularly about B vitamins, magnesium, iron, for example. The other thing is we've got to make sure we're staying hydrated. I totally appreciate this time of year, we don't necessarily want to be drinking cold glasses of water if we're already feeling a little bit cold. But remember, you can use herbal teas as well. We need to stay hydrated in order to help the body function at its best. Remember, the body is 70% water. So dehydration is actually a really big stress on the system and will impact your energy levels. Right, okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. These are my three key things to focus on if you want to support your energy levels throughout the year, but particularly during these winter months. So first of all, really check in and be mindful of your use of stimulants. So in particular, I'm thinking about caffeine and alcohol. So caffeine is a really significant stimulant to the nervous system, and if it's used excessively, can lead us to having quite big energy crashes. We get that initial boost in alertness and focus and feeling awake, but then there's an inevitable crash afterwards. So do be mindful of your intake. So caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours, dependent on the individual and how you metabolize it. So what that means is if you have quite a strong coffee at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, half of that caffeine is still in your system at 9 o'clock at night, when we really want the body to be winding down and getting ready for sleep. Now, you may think that you're sleeping well and that having that strong coffee at 4 isn't necessarily impacting you getting off to sleep or staying asleep. I'd really question the quality of your sleep. Are you getting into that really crucial deep sleep where a lot of the true regeneration, recalibration, and rest is actually happening? The other thing about caffeine is that it can really impact your blood sugar. So again, just be mindful of your intake. My general advice is stick to no more than 2 caffeinated beverages per day. Ideally not after midday, and also ideally not on an empty stomach. So if you have a coffee in the morning, try and have it with or after your breakfast. The other thing to mention is alcohol. Now, a lot of people use alcohol to wind down in the evening, and because it has a mild sedative effect, a lot of people think that it helps them sleep. But the alcohol actually really disrupts the quality of the sleep. And again, if we're getting regularly disturbed night sleep, that's going to impact our energy and how we can function the next day. So really check in on your alcohol intake. Obviously, alcohol is a toxin to the body. We know this. It's putting a lot of toxic pressure on the liver because it has to metabolize it. So let's do our bodies a favor and really be mindful of our alcohol intake in order to support our energy levels. So strategy number 2 is to build balanced meals. So a balanced meal contains enough protein, and enough protein for you is going to depend on your age, your particular stage in life, your training levels, any other particular health conditions or health concerns. But on the whole, most of my clients are not getting enough protein into the diet. So a good amount of protein. So as an example, aim for around about a palm size of your own hand. That's kind of a very general starting point per meal. So with the protein, we want to be adding in a good half a plate of colourful and varied vegetables, primarily the vegetables from above the ground, so the non-starchy kind. Things like peppers and broccoli and kale and all of those wonderful vegetables. Remember, these are going to be really nutrient dense, so filled with all those little spark plugs, those vitamins and minerals to help our energy production. Next, we want to make sure we're getting our carbohydrates in. Don't be scared of carbohydrates. They are really important in the diet. They are the body's primary fuel to produce energy. But we want to make sure it's the right type of carbohydrates. So we want to skip the refined carbohydrates, skip the white bread, the white pasta, the sugary treats, focus on complex carbohydrates, whole grains, oats, starchy vegetables, those types of things. Finally, don't forget your healthy fats. So things like avocados, extra virgin olive oil, oily fish, nuts and seeds. Again, these are really important for maintaining energy levels, keeping us satiated between meals. So the idea with building a balanced meal is, first of all, we're getting in all the nutrition that we need, but secondly, we are helping to keep our blood sugar relatively stable. In the Western diet, we tend to focus on very carb-heavy meals, and these will give us quite a big spike in blood sugar, which inevitably gives us quite a big crash afterwards, and this is where our energy can really suffer. But when we build balanced meals, we get a nice, gentle rise in blood sugar, and that meal should keep us really nicely sustained for a good 4 hours when we might start to feel hungry for our next meal. So really focus on building balanced meals. So my third strategy is really prioritize your sleep. It's so normal to need and want a little bit of extra sleep during the winter months. So really listen to your body and what you feel like you need. Lots of us don't prioritize getting to bed at a decent time, putting away our devices so that we're not stimulating the body with that blue light, and not giving our body enough time to wind down properly, calm the nervous system so we can have a really deep and restorative night's sleep. So try as best as you can to implement a really nice sleep routine, which primes your body for sleep, gets you ready to have that nice restful night. For example, you might have a lovely hot bath, you might do a short meditation, you might do some deep breathing. Also, keep the lights low in the bedroom, nice and cool. We don't need it to be too stimulating in the bedroom either. The other thing to say is try and get outside into nature, into fresh air, into the daylight as soon as you can in the morning. It's a really good way of setting your circadian rhythm, which is our natural sleep-wake cycle. So even though it can be so tempting during the winter to stay huddled up inside all day, just do try and get out, get that fresh air. It really will help your sleep in the long run. So those are my 3 key focus areas, and don't forget my basic fundamentals: whole nutrient-dense foods and plenty of hydration. The last thing to say is, if you are struggling with chronic low energy and fatigue, which is just really not resolved by a good night's sleep, please do go and speak to your GP about that. Get some blood tests, because it's likely that you are low or even deficient in some key nutrients. These can definitely be rectified by diet, lifestyle and quality supplements, but you need to know what your levels are first so you know where to focus. The other thing to remind you of is vitamin D, such an important vitamin in the body, really important for energy levels as well. Obviously during the winter months, because we make vitamin D from sun exposure, we're not going to be making vitamin D during the winter months because of the angle of the earth, but also because we just don't get so much sunlight in the winter. So get your vitamin D levels checked, make sure that you are supplementing through the winter time. The NHS do recommend that everybody in the UK supplements between October and March, but as I say, get your levels checked, then you know how much you need to be supplementing. I'm Rachel Davies. I'm a registered nutritional therapist and a health coach. If you'd like to hear more from me, do head on over to my website where you can download some of my free guides. It's racheldaviesnutrition.com, or head on over to Instagram where you can find me at Rachel Davies Nutrition.